Sorry, this house isn't suitable for anyone with photosensitive epilepsy. Flashing lights maker. The ghetto! So I know it's been a while, and the last time we checked in, the house looked a little bit more like this. But this is what we're working with. Someone asked me whether I bought a new house or whether I'm still renovating the old one. Still very much renovating the old one. Sorry about that. Sorry to disappoint. It's still the same house. I actually hadn't touched downstairs, so this is the first time I'm doing anything downstairs, but it is very much needed. So welcome to my crib. You don't even know where to start. Like, I don't know what to show you first. I guess we'll start at the door and I'll talk you through what the plans are. Or shall we recap last? Okay, wait. We'll recap. So we're gonna head upstairs. There's a blue tinge everywhere because all the windows are covered with this like blue plastic stuff. But basically, I actually renovated upstairs already. I did all my bedroom. Doesn't look like it because essentially I took this chimney breast out, which wasn't the plan. But I plastered both bedrooms, so completely new plastering on every single wall. Every room had, upstairs I'm talking the bedrooms, every room had a new skirting board and I guess flooring, and it had like a paint job and all that stuff. Oh, and spotlights. So I put spotlights in the bedrooms. And the idea essentially was that upstairs will be done and then I can just focus on downstairs and I can kind of like live upstairs when I'm doing the downstairs, save the downstairs, all the rest of it. Clearly that's not what's happened. I've actually had to move out and go and live with my mum again. But basically the reason being is because the plan is and I guess I'll take you back downstairs. So at the moment I've got a really slim galley kitchen. It looks a little bit bigger now because let me turn this light on. It looks a bit bigger now because the units from the kitchen have been removed on both sides. This is going to keep flashing. Sorry, this house isn't suitable for anyone with photosensitive epilepsy. Flashing lights maker. I can't wait any longer. Basically, this is what the kitchen currently looks like. It looks a little bit bigger now because the units have been removed from the left side. But imagine, in fact, I'll insert a video of what the kitchen looked like before. So it's really slim, really skinny, just really closed off basically. So the builders have removed the units on this side and also the units that were up there. They haven't removed the units here, which is holding the sink, but they've removed everything else. And essentially the idea is to open plan this kitchen diner space. So what we'll be doing is removing this wall so that the kitchen is joined to the living room. So this wall will no longer be here. Essentially, that is the plan. It will still have like a pillar here and a pillar on the other end because it's a load bearing wall. So they have to install a steel beam across there, which will hold the weight of like this structure. That will mean that the kitchen isn't so closed and it's not so like skinny, which is essentially what I wanted. So that was the main thing that I wanted to do. Now, what wasn't necessarily in the plans as such, but I was added to the plans later, is there used to be a chimney breast here where this dark line is. There was also one here, which is where the other dark line is, but that one was already removed like years ago before I bought the house. But this one on this side was still there. However, if you show you the floor, it kind of like where this square is kind of like where the whole fireplace came to. So it was just obstructing quite a lot of the floor space. So by removing the chimney breast means that we just added a little bit more width to this room. And the reason that we're moving it upstairs, again, my plan was not to remove it upstairs, it was just to remove it downstairs, but apparently it was a bit cheaper and it was a lot easier and it made a lot more sense to remove it from upstairs and downstairs and then secure it in the chimney, in the loft. So, and I think the reason behind that is because I guess there's less weight to secure when it's just the little chimney bit and you secure it in the loft. So that's what we ended up doing. That's what I was advised, and that's what we've done. It did add quite a lot of cost. I'm not sure whether it's worth the cost, if I'm being completely honest, on reflection. Like whether that little bit of room that it's added was worth it. I'm not entirely sure, but we've done it now. We've bleeding done it now. What I wasn't expecting is for this whole room to be back to brick. Like I kind of was, because we've had to take one of the rooms upstairs, the wardrobe room. So it's a 3-bedroom house, and the smallest room I've turned into like a wardrobe room. That room I did have to take back to brick, but the other rooms I didn't. So I wasn't necessarily sure that we would need to do that downstairs, but clearly we have done that downstairs, which is fine. The ceiling has been completely removed as well, which is also fine, but interesting. That's the plan, really. I mean, they're moving really quickly. They started on Wednesday. It is now Sunday. They don't work on Sunday. So Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, 3 days. Did I count that right? Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Okay, 4 days. 4 days. 4 days, and they've pretty much done a lot of it. What I really want to do is get involved in the smashing down of this wall. I'm not going to lie. I don't know if they're going to let me, but I need at least one clip of me smashing down my wall. I need it for the memory. One of my friends told me to make sure I do it today, and I was like, do you know what? Good idea. So I really want to get that done. But yeah, my mum came a couple of days ago, and she was just very taken aback by what this house currently looks like.
Right back to basics, man.
Basics. This is horrific.
I've got a lot of work to do. And it... Shit.
I'm not gonna lie, it's very nerve-wracking seeing somewhere that you're supposed to call home look like this. Because, like, I didn't use the downstairs anyway, like I literally only used upstairs. But now it looks even worse than it did before. So if I wasn't okay with it before, I'm really not okay with it now. It's very nerve-wracking. One thing I will say is I've already made so many mistakes as to this renovation. I'm gonna like talk you through some of them so that you don't miss them. And it's not necessarily mistakes as such, but things that I've missed that I kind of knew I missed, but didn't realise that by missing them, I'm distracted by seeing outside through my house, basically. There's just like random electric wires that have just been cut. I don't know if it should look like that. Like, excuse me, but why are you just hanging there? A problem for another day. Or maybe not a problem at all. Maybe I just need to mind my business. I shouldn't even be here. So anyways, some of the things that I've missed that I don't recommend you miss, so therefore I'm going to raise them. One, electrics. So my electrics are really old. I don't need a rewire in the house because I checked that. I didn't check it before I bought the house, which I should have, so I highly recommend you checking whether your house would need a rewire before you purchase. But I did check it once I had moved in, because I had a spotlights upstairs, and before I did that I checked whether I needed a rewire, and I asked a few different electricians, all of which said no. Before I bought this house, it was actually rented out. I asked the electrician that was on that EPC and he said no, and then I asked just a privately sourced electrician and they also said no. So no rewire needed. However, some of the plug sockets are still really low, but like there's different regulations now and they should be at like a certain height away from the floor, and these just aren't. So that needed attention. So upstairs I've raised them, but down here I didn't, and I didn't put that into the quote, and the builder didn't necessarily mention it. It was kind of like, he'll do what I say, but he's not necessarily going to suggest things outside of that remit, which not all builders are like that, but at the same time, the ones that were suggesting things outside of the remit were also annoying me, because sometimes I'm like, okay, but I need to make it within my budget, so what can I remove? And they're just like, builders will have to be another video. I'm not even going to lie. I could do a whole video on how to deal with builders, what to avoid, what to look out for, and what to expect. So that's not going to be in today's video. However, definitely just bear that in mind. Like, yeah, it's difficult. Someone asked me how I'm managing to keep on track of what's being done. I'm not. So yeah, electrics I didn't include. This whole space is obviously going to be really open plan, which is already hard to keep warm. I've heard this whole house is hard to keep warm as it is, but it's going to be even harder once it's open plan. And there's actually only one, or there was, it's now been removed, but there was only one radiator in this like whole entire room. So obviously, and there's none in the kitchen whatsoever. So obviously I'm going to need more radiator space. So I'm thinking to add 2 long radiators, which I've heard aren't as good, but then I've also heard, I literally just heard dust fall from somewhere. I've also heard that if you get more expensive ones, and they emit just as much heat as like the standard radiators. But the reason I'm going to get 2 long ones is because currently the radiator is on this wall, which is where I kind of want to put the sofa. So if you imagine, this is the door to the living room, and I want to put the sofa on this wall, so I can't really have the radiator on this wall. However, if I have the sofa here, let me spin the other way. So if I put the radiator here, that means that the TV really will go on this wall. And if the TV goes on this wall, I can't put radiator on this wall. But if I put a long radiator, maybe I can put a long radiator to the side, and on the other side where the dining room, I guess, or dining space will be, I can put another long radiator on this wall, and then it will be symmetrical, potentially. I really don't know. I haven't quite figured this stuff out. By the time you see this video, I probably would have already made a decision. I probably would have went for it. So yeah, there's that. Unless, no, it's probably about the same width. I don't know. I actually don't have the answers, but that is what I'm thinking. Point being, I also missed the plumbing. And did I miss anything else? I also didn't think about lighting in the kitchen. You can see that strobe light, which shouldn't be a strobe light, flashing every 5 minutes, but I actually just didn't even factor in a kitchen light. I think I'm going to get spotlights in the kitchen though. I don't want spotlights in this whole area because I don't even like them. Like I feel like I never use like the main light in the bedrooms, and I think I hate it when it's on. It's so bright. It's like obnoxious. So I'm probably gonna get spotlights in the kitchen just because I feel like one light fixture might not look like, I feel like I'd have to get all the same light. I don't know. I'm probably going to get spotlights in the kitchen. I don't really have much logic for you, but I'm probably going to get spotlights in the kitchen. But out here, these two lights, I'm going to change the fixture, but I'm going to keep them as two like separate lights as opposed to spotlights. I just think it's just warmer. Do you know what I mean? Like a light fixture is just nicer than down spotlights. So yeah, there's that. And then another thing that I kind of missed out that I thought about, to be honest, I didn't really miss it out. This was like a miscommunication on mine and my builder's part. Is the kitchen currently has a back door, which is not going to be needed if it's all one space. I don't need two back doors in the same room. So here is, ignore this, this is my fridge. But just behind there is a door, and I'm going to block that up. So that's another thing that was not necessarily missed, but missed off the quote originally, which is a bit annoying. So yeah, going to block up that door. And then the last thing, it wasn't missed off, but I'm just going to mention it because we're here in the kitchen, is this window. So I think I'm going to, or I'm pretty certain I'm going to move the sink to underneath this window. But because it's quite low, I'm going to make the window smaller basically, which I think I'm supposed to do because when I changed all the windows in this house, this is literally the only window that I didn't do. And I didn't do it because when they brought the window, they changed the openings that it was like a line in the middle and then it opened on one side, and I didn't want that. Like, why have you done that? So I didn't accept the window. And then when they made the new one, they didn't call me till about 3 months later, and I was like, well, I don't want it now. And then clearly this is why I don't want it, because I'm going to make the window smaller anyway. Because I would have been fuming had I put in a fresh new window, paid for it, and then made smaller and then had to get a whole new window again. So that is that on that. And to be honest, that is pretty much everything, I think. It's very scary looking at all these holes in the walls. I'm not gonna lie, like what even is that? So far there's been no kind of like crazy, oh by the way, did you know that this wall's falling down? So fingers crossed that doesn't happen, touch wood. But yeah, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.